Have fun, kids, just don't get pregnant. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am here once again doing a tag. In today's video I'm going to be doing the Dilemmas of a Book Nerd tag, and I've seen quite a few people do this video, and I was tagged by Lisa over in Lisa Marie Reads. I love that girl so much. Whenever she posts a video, and whenever I'm watching her video, she just exudes happiness and she exudes positivity, and I love her and I love her videos. Go and check out Lisa's channel. She's just brilliant. She loves Stranger Things, she loves Shadowhunters. She's just so brilliant. She's so sweet and I love her. So I'll link her channel in the description below for you guys to go check out, because she's just brilliant. As I said, I've seen a lot of people do this tag. I've been interested in doing it for a bit, so here we are. There are quite a few questions, I think, or normal amount. We're gonna jump straight into these questions. Question number 1. Book storage. How do you store and organise your books? Right now, obviously at university, I just kind of have them in no order, just on top of my little self-made storage thing, because I don't really have any other space to put them. Back at home in my parents' house, I have 2 shelves in a sense. It's not 2 shelves, it's 2 section shelves. So I've got them 2 here, and then my bed's like there, so they're kind of separated like that. They're not freestanding, they're wall ones. And on this side, or this side for me, is all the books I've read. The bottom shelf is for all my favourite books, so like Harry Potter and Miss Peregrine's and Percy Jackson. The top 2 shelves are just my rest of my books are all done in like alphabetical order. And on the other side I have a shelf for my Shadowhunter books, because they are so many and they needed a shelf of their own, and even that is not going to be enough for them. And then above that I just have all my unread books, which are not really put in any order. Question number 2 is tracking. How do you keep track of what you have read and what books you own? I do it both on Goodreads. Goodreads is my main source. Obviously I have all my TBR, my massive TBR on there, and obviously when I'm reading books and when I've read books, that's how I track them. I also have a bullet journal. Yeah, I have my bullet journal, which I do like weekly page count trackers, and I have like, I write down all the books I've read in the month and like their star rating and when I read them from, and then I have a page or section my book haul, which you can't really see because it's really bright and I can't be bothered to change it, from book haul. And then at the end of the month I'll do a kind of like wrap up of the month, so I'll kind of write like how many pages did I read overall, and also stuff for my channel. So yeah, I do it both through Goodreads and a bullet journal. Question number 3 is borrow. Do you lend your books out? Not to friends, because I don't really have many friends that read, and if they do, it's not like they ask me if to borrow books. The only person I do actively or often lend books out to is my mum, because if I read a book and I'm like, oh, I really think my mum will like that, I'll put it on her shelf. Her shelf is in my bedroom. Her little section of kind of books she wants to read is in my room, so I kind of just put it on that, being like, oh, there's a book I think you should read, I'll put it on there. But I also do give her books I want to get rid of. So once again, if you know I read a book, I didn't really like it but I think she would like it, I'll give it to her. So I think it was like one of Giovanna Fletcher's books. I thought there are other books but I can't think of the top of my head. So my mum's the only one I really often lend books out to. Question number 4 is buying. How do you buy or acquire books? I'm very much mixed. I mainly buy them online just because it's cheaper. I do like to go bookstore shopping, like in Waterstones or something like that, if I have the money or if I want to treat myself, because obviously it's a bit more expensive. I did just film a kind of secondhand book tag, and so in there I talked about how I do buy a lot of my books in charity shops, just because obviously it's cheaper and I just feel like it's a kind of little cycle and it's very much more efficient, or what's the word? I don't know, I just feel like I'm not feeding into like, not consumerism, I don't know, it's just helping the planet, right? I do like going charity shop book shopping just because I just like standing there and browsing, and not browsing in like a normal bookstore when I'm like, I can't buy any of these because they're more expensive and I don't have the money to. It's more like, oh, you know, there are loads of books here, if I want one I can probably buy it because it's quite cheap. Question number 5 is how do you respond to the how do you read so much comment or similar comment? I get that quite a lot with my friends, my friends who in real life who don't read. I think one of my friends once said to me like, how do you read, watch films and watch TV so much? And my answer is always just, I just do. I make time to do it, because I think obviously when you say like, oh yeah, my hobby is reading and I read a lot, people aren't going to go, oh my god, what a teenager. Oh, most like people are going to be like, oh, that's really cool. I can justify like watching films and TV a lot, and that being something I do a lot because obviously it's what I want to go into and it's what I'm studying. So I think because when I get home or something from a long day, or I want to spend a day doing something, for other people it might be like, oh, let's go and do blah 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 blah, or blah 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 blah, or go do this sport thing. For me, that's kind of my hobby, if you know what I mean. I make the time. And also I utilize the time when you think you might not be able to read. People might think like, oh, on the bus you can listen to music. But for me it's like, oh, I'm on the bus, so let's listen to an audiobook. Waiting in between classes, I'll go on my phone. For me, I'm waiting in between classes, let's read a book. I find little snippets of time to read as much as I can. I'm always actively wanting to read. I'm always conscious that I want to read more, so I just make the time and make sure I can slot it in. And it's the same with like films and TV shows, but usually I leave that for, you know, the evenings when I have more chunks of time, because I don't want to like break it up too much. See, I also got that comment at the end of last year when my friends were talking about being like, they're like, oh my god, I read this many books this year, and I was like, yeah, well, I read about like 60, and they were like, 60 books? That's so a lot, that's like more than one a week. And I was like, well, it's not that much in comparison to some booktubers, but to you, it's a lot. Question number 6 is, how do you pick your next read? Recently, I haven't had much leeway into what I can pick for reading, because I've been doing quite a few like not buddy reads, but like read-alongs with friends and just kind of stuff like that, which has kind of determined what I'm reading before, you know, I can choose it. Like, I know I have to read that. Then, for example, I'm reading the kind of Grisha trilogy with some friends on BookTube, so that's determined what I'm reading. But other than that, I've decided to do something where, obviously I know how many books I've got on my physical TBR, so I think the last time how I picked the book I'm reading right now, which is The Nightingale, was I took the number of books I have on my TBR, went on Twitter and said, hey, so the first person who gives me a number between this number and obviously 1 and this number gets to pick my next read. They gave me a number, and it just so happened to be The Nightingale. And I think I'm going to do a thing where I alternate. When it comes to me being able to pick my own book, I'm going to alternate between doing that and just going to my shelves and going, I want to read that. Usually it's how I pick my books is either determined by what I need to read in the terms of, am I reading anything with anybody else, and just kind of what I'm in the mood for, or what maybe someone randomly picks for me. So it's nothing too crazy. I'm not someone like Cody or Becca or Jade, who, you know, has like a system, has like a Bookopoly or a Trivial Pursuit or a Cody's Will of TBR thing that, you know, picks it, which I think is so cool, and I would love to be as creative and dedicated to do something like that. I love watching those videos, but feels like it's too much for me. Are those two birds having sex? So I'm just watching out my window and I just saw like one bird kind of looked like it went on top of another, I don't know, and then they flew away and it was 3 birds. Have fun, kids, just don't get pregnant. Question number 7 is, how do you pick what books you bring on vacation with you? Usually when I go on holiday, it's during the summer, so usually it's just what I'm reading at that time, plus books I just want to read next. I might bring books that are more like contemporary, light-hearted summary reads, but I don't necessarily have to pick those ones. In 2019, when I was on holiday, the books I picked to read were just books I was reading at the time, and also it was around the time that the Magical Readathon was happening, so I read books that I had to read for my TBR for that. A couple of years ago, or in 2017 when I went on holiday, I just took some really big releases that I knew I needed to read, so I took Lord of Shadows and A Court of Wings and Ruin. I was like, though I've been waiting to read those until after my exams. I went on holiday just after my exams, so those were the books that I picked. I think really it's just what I'm in the mood for and just what I want to read at that time. No, my camera battery's flashing, and this is the only camera I have left. I'm going to try and film as much of this video as I can because my camera battery's flashing, and I have 2 already dead camera batteries, and this is my only one left. So yeah, I just pick what I'm in the mood for and what I can take. Done. Question number 8. Do you write or highlight or mark up your books in any way? No, I've only done it for one book. Obviously I did it back in school with books I have to read for school, but the only book I have done it of my own pleasure reading is Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig. I underlined stuff in that book that just kind of resonated with me and that I will want to remember for, you know, later on. That's really the only time I've ever highlighted a book, because I just don't ever, not, it's like I don't want to. I kind of don't want to, because, like, you know, my thoughts could change. It's kind of like, I just can't be bothered. Honestly, I think that's really it. I can't be bothered. I love people who do it, so people like Chloe, I really love how she does it, but for me, I personally just can't be bothered. Question number 9, do you prefer new releases or backlist books? I'm not picky. Obviously, I like to read as many new releases as I can, so I can keep up to date with everything else that's going on BookTube or what people are talking on BookTube, but I also like to read the books I haven't read that were popular years ago because I was interested in them years ago and I haven't read them yet. So I'm not picky. I just read what I want to read. I just read what I'm interested in. Question number 10 is, do you read books as they are released or wait for an entire series to be published before reading one book? It depends on the series. No, I don't really. If I pick up a book and it's a series and, you know, books are still coming out, I'm not like, it doesn't stop me from picking it up. I'll pick it up, I'll read it, and if I like it, obviously I'll wait and I'll track down when the next books are coming, so I know when to, you know, get them. Sometimes I do feel like it could be easier to wait until a whole series is out, but I'm not someone who binge reads series, so in a sense it doesn't really make any difference to me. I'm not going to sit down and read a whole series in one go. I don't really wait. I just, if I want to read a book that's still got books coming out, I'll read it, and if I have to wait for the sequels, that's fine. That's fine by me. That is it for this tag. I feel like the ending was really rushed and I apologise, but my camera battery is flashing at me right now and I'm really worried it's gonna like stop halfway through. I need to tag people, so I'm just gonna tag people that come off my head, and if you've already done it, I apologise, but I'm on a time schedule right now. I'm gonna tag Maddie, Michaela, and someone else from my group chat that I feel like probably hasn't done it and hasn't been tagged. Charlotte. There we go. Charlotte, you've been tagged. Right, Maddie, Michaela and Charlotte. If you've already been tagged, I apologise, but I'm on a time schedule right now because my camera battery is flashing. It has been for a while, so it's like freaking me out. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know some of your responses / your opinions on my comments, on my responses in the comments below. We'd love to have a discussion. If you're new around here, do not forget to subscribe. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in my next video.